Welcome to Hardcourt Honeys, where we take our full court NBA hottest takes, and we got featuring Jade and Penny with your moderator TJ, who will just try to keep control with these two while we go with our takes. Okay, hey guys there, hey subscribers and listeners. So got Jade, Penny this week, TJ here. So this week we're gonna flip the script a little bit. A lot of people talk about the bottom race for the 7th and 8th spot between the 10th to the 7th team. This week, we're going to flip the script again, like we always like to do here, flipping the script. We're going to talk about the top teams in each conference and kind of see where this playoff run is going to go. So I'm just going to first lay off the top 4 teams in each conference. So the Bucks are number 1, Raptors 2, Celtics 3, and the Heat are 4.
Yay.
Yeah, of course. They're barely. So hold off for a second there, Penny. Hold off for a second. And then for the West, there's the Lakers, and then 2 is Nuggets, 3 are Clippers, and the 4th, Rockets have shown back up again. They've flown up to catch up to everyone in the West. Okay, so Jade, out of all of these teams right now, who take out your Raptors? Take out your Raptors. Who? I know it's going to be difficult for you, but the same thing's going to go to Penny because we're going to start Eastern Conference. This is your guys' forte with it. So, besides your Raps, do you think anyone can beat the Bucks? Actually, include your Raptors.
I think the Raptors can.
There is a jump with that. That's a 9-game difference.
Yeah, I still think the Raptors can beat the Bucks.
You still think?
And it's not based on the guys on the floor. It's based on the guy running things from the bench. I think Nick Nurse is going to outcoach Bud.
Big time.
Bud is a great regular season coach.
Yep.
Do we agree here? Great regular season. But playoff?
So you know who Bud is to me?
Who?
He's the Bucks' Dwayne Casey.
Yep.
And they also have very similar styles. And we actually had this conversation on Raptors Twitter because the Raptors play the Bucks this week.
Mm-hmm.
And Bud has come out and said, no, this is what we're doing. So there will be no adjustments, according to Coach Budenholzer, in the playoffs. They're going to do what they've been doing. Nick Nurse loves the challenge of having to figure out how to beat a team. And I just think Nick Nurse is the superior coach. And I think because our team is deep enough, he's going to be able to figure out the right combination of things to do that should we meet the Bucks in the playoffs, I would give it a 50-50 chance that between us and the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, Penny, we'll swing over to your Miami Heat. Do you see your Miami Heat bouncing up any more spots right now with they're at? They're at the 4th, and Philadelphia is right behind there with 37 wins, and Pacers are at 36. Miami's got 38. Do you think that they're going to stick at that 4th seed, or do you think that they could even beat the Boston Celtics with that? Because they only have 3 more wins with it. But you got a month and a half left. Do you see your Heat coming through, Penny?
Yes, with this roster, I think they can. I don't think the 76ers have a chance. Because they've been up and down. They've been up and down all season long. And I don't think they have the roster to beat even the Boston. So the Heat are going to stick with the 4th.
The Heat are going to stick.
The Pacers, I don't think they're even that close, to be honest.
I agree with Penny. I agree with Penny, especially on the Sixers, looking at their schedule. They still only won 9 games on the road this season, and they've got a bunch of road games for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They've been stuck at 9 road games for weeks now.
Wow, yeah, that 9-21, that's not going to help them. And the Heat with 13-18, it's a better chance.
Yep.
And when I'm looking at the Sixers, because some of the teams I wrote, okay, how many games left and what are away and what are home? most of the games for the 76ers are away. So if there is going to be a flip-flop, I'm seeing Philadelphia and Indiana.
Yeah.
But if you're Boston, then who are you going to want to play, though? 76ers or Indiana?
The Pacers. I would go with the Pacers.
I think that would benefit that more just because they wouldn't have to worry about Embiid.
Yeah, I would say the Pacers too, but honestly, I would take Boston in either of those series.
Yes.
But I think the Pacers would be easier.
Do they have a big man that can help them for stretches of times, though, Jade?
Who?
Boston. Because that's going to be the one thing that they do lack is a
consistent
guy.
Boston played the Rockets last night, and that was the reason in my pick'ems this week I took Boston, but then I don't think Enes Kanter played again. He's missed a lot of games.
Yeah, I forgot he was on the team.
You guys forgot Taco Fall. How can you not mention Fall? Come on now.
Is he with the team? Is he in the G League yet?
No, he's still with the team.
He's with the team.
I guess he's the fan favorites.
He's a fan favorite, yeah. But I don't know what's going on at their center position. But like you said, that's the reason. If it comes down to it, they've definitely got an easier road against the Pacers.
Yeah.
But I still do think they could beat the 76ers, especially depending on the health of Simmons and Embiid, who are both out right now.
Oh.
I wonder when that team's going to blow up.
I can't wait for it, because you know what? Some Sixers fans came at me because of my articles last week on Twitter. And it was it was good-natured fun, but I wrote that article about the Simmons Embiid conundrum saying eventually they're going to part ways because the two of them together, the way they play, aren't past where they've already been. Mm-hmm. And success for this team is a finals appearance. It's not another conference semifinals. It's not a conference finals. It's finals. And they gave me a hard time and did some very fun revisionist remembering of what I said in my article. So when it happens, the gloating is going to be real.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
Do both leave or just one of them?
I think just one. I say it's really hard for me because if it was me and I was making the decision, I think Ben Simmons still has a higher ceiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if he's not going to shoot, that negates his capacity is, I think.
Well, he's still, 21?
No. He's older than that, I think.
Okay, 22?
I'm checking right now.
Yeah, check that. Because I think the one thing I see with him is he's not as injury prone as Embiid. Embiid's had foot injuries. Foot injuries for big men.
And not just injuries, but just sick.
Yep.
Lung infections and stuff. So Simmons is 23. He'll be 24 in July.
Yeah, you were way off, Taylor.
Oh, wow. We're really going to go at me like that? Okay.
Remember, he's not a rookie anymore.
He's been a rookie since even before he got drafted. He'll forever be. Like when people say they're celebrating the anniversary of their 21st birthday, he's celebrating the anniversary of his rookie year. So he's still technically a rookie.
Yeah.
He's just celebrating the anniversary of it every year.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But where will you see Simmons go? What other team?
Simmons needs to be somewhere where there is a big man veteran to teach him how to be a professional.
Yep.
That's what I...
No professionalism.
No professionalism whatsoever. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just for fun, and it's just how he is, and it's just playing to the crowd, but I don't actually believe that. I believe when you behave like a professional, it makes whatever the job you are doing better. If you behave as a professional off the court, you're going to be better on the court.
when is being just a troll just a total mask of he's just being a tool? Like, there's a point where there's a troll and then there's just a tool.
Yeah. Like, I just find him so immature.
Yep. That's what holds him back.
Yep.
He's the 100%. One. Okay, well, swinging back up to the playoff stuff in the East. So we said no slipping in the East. There's no one that's really going to bounce around.
No,
none with that. Okay. When it comes to all these top 4 teams, and all of these teams are very team oriented, meaning, in fact, where you might have one actual superstar that shines out, but then the rest of the team is kind of balanced out. Out of those top 4 teams, who is the most balanced, Jade?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have to eliminate the Bucks because I still think Giannis carries a lot for that team. And yes, he's the reigning MVP. He's a superstar. He probably should. But in terms of teams that are most balanced, I would eliminate the Bucks first. I don't know if I can pick one between the Raptors, Celtics, and Heat. All 3 of those teams really do play with everybody every game. And there's always someone else to step up when one person isn't having their best night, you know?
And all 3 of these coaches are pedigree championship coaches. So, true. I mean, Brad Stevens hasn't won yet, but give him a couple of years.
Yeah.
Actually, give him a couple of years, and he's going to add to that. But you got coaches that know how to flip through a system.
And they're also coaches with just absolute buy-in from their players.
Yep. You got to have the respect from your players and believe what you're trying to implement.
Yep.
Or with Penny's Miami Heat, they just go with Pat Riley because you don't want to mess up with the mobster.
You got that right.
Exactly.
Except he messed up with Iggy.
Well, yeah, that was a big.
Yeah, how's that going? I haven't had any Heat games here since the trade.
I haven't watched it either because I've been watching more women's game, but I don't think it's going well. I haven't seen any tweets about him having great games, even defensive games. So
he was non-existent against the Wolves. I'm just gonna say that right there, non-existent.
He was non-existent. How many minutes did he play?
We still had 6 players, still double figures, but I digress on that. This one is going to be a little bit both for Western Conference and Eastern Conference. This question, since it's the back third of the season, playoff push for this point is just home court advantage. Do we change the load management, Penny? Is load management going to change at all for teams? Longer minutes, or are teams going to kind of stick to what they have and wait for the playoffs to do the tweaks?
I think they're going to wait for the playoffs and do the tweaks. They're going to do more load management throughout the playoffs.
Still do load management? Okay.
Yeah. That's been the case every year, so I don't see anything changing.
You don't see anything change, even though there's a tight race in those second, third, and fourth spot?
Yeah.
You don't see Boston being like, ooh, maybe we should play Tatum a little bit more so we can get that second seed over Toronto.
They're always going to play him, so.
But, they'll put him up at, 38 minutes instead of what they have him doing, at 32. Do we see more minutes from star player?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Jade, swing over the same question. Do you see the superstar or the top players on the team getting more minutes, bench losing some time to kind of get the starters ready for the playoffs, or still with the load management?
I think it's going to go both ways. If it was me, I'd be doing load management on the superstars for the next week and a half to 2 weeks. Give them a little bit of rest, especially on teams where they played for the playoffs. So the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks, they're not worried about their playoff positions. And then I would expect to see them have their minutes start to ramp up in the last week or two of the season before the playoffs start.
Okay. Well, I can get with that. All right. Well, so now did a little bit on the Eastern Conference. Now we're going to switch it off to the Western Conference. I got a little bit more knowledge on this stuff. Hopefully you guys got some too, which I assume so, because you guys are that great. So repeat the West. So it's Lakers, Nugs, Clips, and Rockets. The Nuggets and Clips right now have the same record at 40-19.
Which kind of means we probably should include the Jazz.
The Jazz, I guess they're at 37. Well, then we could also include Oklahoma City, who has 37 wins too.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, once we start that ball rolling, it's hard to stop, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. It goes to 37, 37, 30. It pretty much until the 7th spot in the Western Conference is kind of up for grabs. But at least out of these top 4 teams, who do you think's going to slip? Do you see any slippages, Jade?
I wouldn't be surprised if the Rockets slipped to 5th.
That I was thinking that too. Penny, do you agree here, or are you seeing Nuggets slipping, or Clips slipping?
No, definitely. I agree with Jay. Houston's going to slip. Denver's only getting better.
Houston's 4 or 5 tiny people lineup will collapse by the end of the season.
That's not going to work. That's not going to work for the playoffs.
It's not going to work for the playoffs.
Especially versus Denver or the Lakers.
Yep.
Even against the Jazz.
Or Thunder. Steven Adams can push around anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that video with Harden this week. Probably you guys saw it too.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I almost don't even know where to start. But the idea that because you're smaller, you had to work harder or you're a better player, like,
oh no, that was when I heard that.
One of our hoops writers, Mike Parent, made the point that, like, if being tall was the thing that made you great at basketball, Yao Ming should have been the best basketball player ever to play in the NBA.
Yep.
Taco Fall should be MVP.
Exactly. Like,
we're gonna bring it right back around to him.
It's such a silly thing to say.
Yeah,
and then my point was, if you look at his stats, okay, yes, 35 points a game. 10 of those points are coming at the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a free throw for a reason. Yes, it's still points. I get that. But it's an unguarded point. And every player in the league should be able to shoot a free throw as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
So you take away that and he's a 25-point-a-game player. And are we still talking about James Harden the way we do? I don't think so.
Yeah, and also put in to perspective also, how many of those extra points are 3-pointers too? Which I'm not necessarily knocking the talent of hitting it, but at the same time, when you have 12 3-pointers and you have 10 points from the free throw, or 12 points from 3-pointers, and then 10 from the free throw line, that's 22 points right there.
Yeah, that's not a super intensive way to get points. And I understand that at the end of the day, it's whoever scores the more points. Yep. But like a post game and being able to get to the basket is a whole nother skill set that shouldn't be knocked just because taller players tend to gravitate towards that more. That's just
it takes more skill. It takes more skill to go to the paint.
Yeah.
And then you can have players like Giannis or Penny's Bam where they can be that large guy and still be agile with it, which I think is almost the harder part with it, where you can be that fast and that big, but still be that light on your feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, just watch Giannis play a few minutes. Like, he moves incredibly.
Yeah.
The footwork he has when he's at full speed, it's ridiculous. To go with the hang time that he can get, he floats. Mm-hmm. He's like Kawhi. He just floats with it.
But yeah, and the fact he said he's gonna win a championship, I was laughing.
Has the championship option sailed off for James Harden now?
In my opinion, yes. He hasn't improved anything yet.
Yeah.
To me.
And if they're always gonna build teams around his play style, then no, he's not gonna get a championship. His play style doesn't name me another team that has won a championship with their leading scorer outscoring the team's second leading scorer by as much as Harden does.
I can't think of one.
Yeah, not top of my head.
That's because it doesn't exist.
Yep. He's not gonna win one. I'm sorry to tell you, Harden.
System. D'Antoni's system, I think, is a very overrated system because if you look at his successful teams, it's because everyone could shoot the three-pointer. You take out that three-point game with D'Antoni, well, he bombs it like he did with the Knicks. He bombs it with a superstar team in LA. Like, unless he gets the players what his mind is set to, he's not a good. He's got James Harden, the player that's specifically for his system. Not going to win.
And the small ball game, you have to be knocking down the three better than anybody else if you're going to play that small. And I don't think, as a whole, the Rockets are there.
No. Not at all.
Not this lineup anymore. They're too old.
And they are old.
Like PJ Tucker is 35 now, 36.
And he's your starting center.
He should be coming off the bench.
100%.
And then Robert Covington, as much as I love him, he slipped up this year. He's not having the best of seasons. When Timberwolves tried to put him in the post, because we tried playing him at the 4, it didn't end well for him. He's great on the wing, but down low, he's just not strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a strong center. Like I said, you run into those top two teams in the Western Conference, Denver and Los Angeles. I mean, Los Angeles is going to have JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard go off on that.
Yeah.
So that alone without Anthony Davis. But
yeah. I think they're trying to do the small ball game that Golden State won their first championship with. But you don't have a player who can put up a shot and you assume it's going in. Right? Steph Curry was incredible that year.
Mm-hmm.
And Klay Thompson knocks it down almost at will too. I don't think Harden, as much as he likes to think he is, I don't think he's a shooter on that level.
3-point line?
What's that?
He's a scorer, not a shooter.
Right. From 3.
Yes. So, yeah, just from the 3-point range. But yeah, Penny, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Yeah, bad manners, TJ.
Not bad.
Well, they beat the Celtics yesterday by 1 point.
By 1 point.
That tells you everything.
That was Russell.
And it's the only time I will be happy for a Rockets win because that put the Celtics a game behind the Raptors instead of a half game.
There we go. So, do you now think with the way that the league is set up, I'm seeing more Eastern Conference teams much more balanced. And now it's the Western Conference that has the top teams, and then it has just this huge drop-off. One is more team-oriented conference. Another one is a dynamic duo-oriented conference in the Western Conference.
Yeah, very much.
Jade, do you see the switch between the two conferences? Because it used to be top teams in the East, nothing, and it was Western Conference.
Yeah.
Now it's switched a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about it, that happens over time. What team in the NBA has the most championships of any other team? It's the Boston Celtics. They're in the East.
Right.
Right? Michael Jordan with the Bulls, East. The Pistons, when they were winning, East. So, like, it goes back and forth. And it was only a matter of time before it swung the other way. Like, that's when they were talking about changing the way they see the playoffs because the West teams were so much better and East teams were getting into the playoffs with the losing record. I'm like, no, this is the way the league goes. There's an ebb and flow in which conference is up and which one's down. And I just think it's always going to be that way.
Okay. So just the pendulum just going back and forth with it all.
Yeah.
Okay. Penny, do you see the same kind of switch with it all? Or is it still kind of Western Conference dominates, Eastern Conference is just there to balance out the league?
No, I agree with Jade, but I think the East has a better teams overall.
Mm-hmm.
You think they have the more teams that are better?
Yeah.
More well-rounded.
Like a team base, like the Raptors, the Heat, the Boston, the Bucks. Where do you see that in the Western Conference besides the Lakers and the Nuggets?
I
even like the Mavs team game better than the Lakers and Nuggets.
Yeah. I forgot about them.
They're just a little too young and they've dealt with some injury bugs this year, but Dallas is going to turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
another 2 seasons, the Mavericks I think are going to be a problem out West.
Mm-hmm. Completely. Luka is going to be the reason.
Yeah, I'm still going to say the Clippers are not going to win it all.
You don't?
No.
Because I was going to say there's about 3 teams in the Eastern Conference that got a legit chance, and I got 2 in the Western Conference with the Clippers and the Lakers. Penny, why do you see the Nuggets over the Clippers then?
Well, the Nuggets have been playing better overall as a team. The Clippers started great and they keep going down and down. Something's going on. It's obvious something's going on. I don't know what it is, but it's not working. And they're not gonna win it for sure.
You did. So you think Lakers is going to be the top LA team?
Yeah.
Okay. Jade, do you? I guess kind of the same thing that Penny was getting at. How many of the teams in the Western Conference do you see actually as a chance? Do you see the Nuggets as a contender, or are they just a real good regular season team that's young and just trying to figure it out still?
So, at the beginning of the season, I would have said the Clippers. They're not. I don't think they're for sure anymore because between the locker room stuff that's come out that they're not gelling well. That's concerning. But on the other hand, I've seen what Kawhi does when he gets into playoff gear.
Mm-hmm.
So then the Clippers are now a wild card for me. I really could see it going either way. The Nuggets at the beginning of the season, I'm really surprised they made it up to second because they play such slow basketball that I didn't think their regular season was going to be able to get them up to second. But because it has, and because the game does slow down in the playoffs, I don't think I could say there's no way the Nuggets get through the Lakers. Because I still think LeBron and AD there's a good chance they're injured by the time we get to the playoffs.
No, I don't say that. No.
I don't think the Lakers are as deep as they appear to be.
Oh no. You have LeBron. He makes everyone around him better. Take him off, that's a very, very average team. A lot of old guys that know their spots, but can't do as much as they used to.
Yeah.
But so back to what Jade, you were saying about that playoff kind of player with it, like with Kawhi. Sometimes there's players in the back third of the season that kind of turn it up, that helps their team. Jade, do you see any kind of player do you think that's gonna rise up to the call and step their game up a little bit to help their teams with the final push, or is that load management thing still going to be a factor with it and no real big influx with that?
I think what Kawhi did with the load management and really playing for the playoffs last year, I think as much as teams like to say, "Oh, we're not playing like that, we're not doing load management," I think they are a bit. And I think they've realized that if you're comfortable that you're going to make the playoffs, especially in that top 4 when you know you're going to have home court at least for the first round,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been a little bit of a shift in like, are we going to play extra hard for that last push rather than save it for when we actually start the playoffs?
Okay. Um, so the same thing thrown to you then, Penny, with that same question. Um, is there any player that do you think that might jump out this last bit, or is just load management going to just shut that idea down?
Yeah, I think the load management is gonna shut down the idea. Yeah, they're gonna reserve the minutes and everything for the playoffs because they're in a good spot. The top 4 teams are in a good spot right now, so I don't see them pushing more.
You don't see him pushing more. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things that's like, yeah, I understand that they've done that for a lot of years in the NBA, but if you actually think about it, it doesn't make that much sense.
No, at this point, it does. I just think of the Bulls from so long ago, where towards the end of the year, I understand at least for the back end of the season, if you're going to make the playoffs, you don't want a Chicago team where you lose Rose, you lose Noah. Boozer was solid and he was getting injured even. Jimmy Butler, when he was coming up, he was getting injured. Like, you don't want that kind of situation happening with your team.
Right.
Um, then, so I was going to, do you see, since of the load management, influx of injuries or still the same thing? Jade.
I think there are a lot more injuries the last couple of years. I don't know if it's just me, but it just seems like there's been so many injuries. And I actually, this is probably another episode, but I think it has to do with the fact that they gave the scheduling to a computer instead of a person. Because I've seen pretty much every team I've watched this season, the commentators have said something about how the travel schedule makes no sense. They're traveling more, they're getting less rest. And I just think the extra fatigue overall is contributing to all these extra little injuries. Like, they're not season ending injuries, a lot of them.
Just ones
but there just seems to be so many of them this year and last year.
Yeah, you're right with that. Do you think maybe possibly the athleticism that's changed in the league is in effect to that?
I don't think so, because I think I have to do some research on it. But I think what I'm going to find is if I go back, not last season, but the season before, so 2017-18, I think I'm going to find that there was a big increase in injuries 2018-19 and 19-20 over 17-18. And that's the off season where the guy that does the scheduling retired.
Oh.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do play a lot of games, especially back-to-back games.
Right, and that's another. Well, that was another thing about it, right? When they handed it over to a computer, it took the human element out of it. So, like, for instance, with the Raptors this year, they were talking about, it used to be if you went to Dallas, you went to San Antonio, and there's one other team, there's one other place that makes up the triangle. I want to say Atlanta.
Well, they usually, I remember on ESPN it was called the Wild West ride, and like every team had it because it was just you hit up all the Texas teams, you hit up a Miami team, or not the Miami, you hit up Arizona, and then you hit up, I think you're right with Atlanta. You just hit up all those teams at once, get it over with, and then move.
So, and that makes more sense for the travel. Whereas when you put everything in a computer, it's just looking for what's the easiest way to get all the games played with the schedule we have. It's harder, it takes more work to make sure that's a trip that every team gets to do. But it was possible. They did it for years.
And
but now that they're not doing it, they're going, like the Raptors this year, we played a game at home, then we went and played a game in Minnesota, and we came back home and then went out on the road somewhere again. And that was the 4-game stretch. And like just the travel isn't efficient. It doesn't make sense anymore. But it also means like the players are not getting the same rest. They're not getting the same sleep.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect how often their bodies fail in certain ways. It just is.
When you lose that sleep and rest element, kind of everything else just tumbling effect with all of that.
Are they still getting 2-game rest or not anymore?
Only sometimes.
Yeah, only occasionally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it is then, because they used to get 2-game rest.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of rest, since of this, the All-Star break coming to end a little bit, and now it's the back third's like into full swing. Do you think the injuries might go down though, since we just had the and load management might go down too because of the 7-day, 10-day rest? Jay, do you see any of that, like injuries and load management going down because of injuries?
I think any amount of rest helps both those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, another thing just for both conference I thought of, usually at this point of the year too, when top teams, they are trying to figure out the one last piece that's going to get them over the hump. They look at the free agents. They look at some of the older players that have proven themselves. My biggest example is when the Timberwolves 3 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever signed Derrick Rose right before we went to the playoffs. He was very key for our playoffs. Penny, do you see any free agent signing that might come out of nowhere? I know J.R. Smith is still out there. He can provide some instant offense. So, Penny, do you see some of the free agents coming up for those top teams, or rosters pretty solidified?
Well, yeah, what I saw on I think it was Twitter, Instagram, the J.R. Smith wants to go to the Lakers.
Oh, of course.
And join LeBron again. So I see that happening.
You see at least JR happening, or do you see?
Yeah, just for the playoffs and the finals, if they make it to the finals, I see that happening.
Jay, do you see any free agent signing in the horizon too, or?
I don't know. That J.R. Smith example is probably a good one. I would say that's like it's just another old guy on the Lakers though overall. Yeah. But it's been such, even though there was the few big trades at the deadline, like the buyout market's been really quiet. The deadline's today.
That's right.
I still think that the huge shift that happened in free agency in the summer, a lot of teams just they're not sure where they are, and it doesn't make sense to keep making changes when you really don't know where you're at. And I think a lot of the top teams are pretty happy with what they have to go into the playoffs with.
You don't see Joakim Noah sliding into Houston to fill that center position?
Why? Because all of a sudden Houston's going to change their mind and have an actual center?
Yes. Yes, he will. He's got the personality to fit there.
He's clearly too tall. You know how like they have those, you must be this tall to ride this ride?
You must be this tall to be in the lineup.
I'm pretty sure Houston's got a sign on the locker room. You have to be below this height to come into the locker room.
Right, though? I'm sorry. That's tiny. They have a tiny team. Okay, well, I think we can start off with the fast break questions for this week. So, this week, we're going to do for the fast break, non-teams that you hope to do well in the playoffs. Who do you want, Jade, besides your Raptors, which other team, when you look at the playoffs and you're like, you know what, if my Raptors don't do well, this is the team I'm going to be rooting for?
Okay, well, I love Giannis, but I can't pick the Bucks because if they do well, there's no chance he comes to Toronto. So they're out. I do really like the Heat.
We'll have to get on that after. You can answer the question. Team that you're looking for.
You know what? It's almost worth saying it every time just for your reaction.
That's fair. That's fair.
For the Eastern Conference, I would say the Heat. I do really like the Heat. They're my top 3 favorite teams this year. So if they do well, as long as they don't beat the Raptors, if they do well, I'm happy with that. In the Western Conference, I would really like to see the Jazz take another step forward from their playoff run last year. I don't know how likely I think it actually is.
Going for those teams.
But I would be happy with that.
Okay. Penny, same question. Favorite non-team to hope to, or what team, non-favorite team hope to do well? Wow. Besides the
Besides the Heat, I would say the Raptors, or even.
Yes.
I know the Magic are in the 7th spot, but if the Heat don't do well, let me rephrase that. Let's say I would go with the Raptors and Boston.
Raptors in Boston?
On the East, yeah.
Okay, and West Coast.
Western Conference, I'm going to go with the Nuggets. And OKC, just because I want CP3 to prove something to the Rockets and everybody else.
He's done a pretty good job at that this year.
Yeah. I'd be on board with the Thunder too.
Yeah.
I do like that team.
I doubt it, but I want them to do really well in the playoffs.
Okay.
If it's not this year with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with another year under his belt, look out for him next year.
Oh yeah, and then the mentorship that he'll get from Chris Paul.
Yeah.
That is the next few years, they could be sliding back up to that 3rd spot.
And the Grizzlies too in the next couple of years. Like, I think a few of those young teams, next 2, 3, maybe 4 years, no one's going to be talking about the LA teams unless they make some big changes. Because those teams, those top 3 out of 4 teams are some of the oldest teams in the league.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're assuming Chris Paul is going to play next year, right?
He's gotten, Father Time is still catching up, but he doesn't play that completely fast style. I think he's got a couple more miles in him.
I think with being able to pass the torch to Shai too, that is going to allow him to take on more of that leadership, like you said, mentoring role, and it won't always be the points all on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Or to him to initiate everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to choose Raptors. Your Raptors, Jade. I've always been a silent fan of the Raptors ever since Vince Carter. And then for Western Conference, I'd have to do Clippers first, just because I said they were going to win it all this year. But then I would have to say, I said at the beginning of the year, I'm still going to hold strong with it.
Doubling down.
The 7th, and then my other team, I would say, is Dallas. I'm always a huge Luka fan. I love Porzingis too. Mavericks have also been another team that's a successful team that I live vicariously through. That's pretty much all you do as a Timberwolves fan. You're like, go Timberwolves for the season. When the playoff comes, you're like, I can go for anyone now. If you see any influx of fandom for any team, it's because of the Timberwolves fan bandwagoned onto a team for the playoffs.
That's fine.
I don't know how many you're gonna get to the Miami Heat though, Jade or no, Penny. I think that might drop a little bit. There's a vendetta that Minnesota has for him. But anywho, okay. So next quick question. Penny, do you want the same playoff format? It's asked all the time, or do you want for it to change?
I say keep it the same.
Keep it the same?
Yeah, keep it the same way it's been working.
I think that's been now because of the conferences balanced out now, or just you think it just works better
It just works better, just the way it is. Just my opinion.
Okay. Jade, do you want to change the playoff format or keep it the same?
I don't think it needs to be changed. And I think the NBA has bigger problems to address than changing the playoffs.
Like the load management?
Fix the scheduling, fix the officiating, and then worry about other stuff.
Yeah. Yep, that's the big three, and yet Adam Silver keeps on doing a bunch of other things, which it's like, is this necessary right now? That's my problem with Silver.
The coach's challenge is the biggest joke ever.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that you cannot challenge because the refs missed a call. Wasn't the whole point of it to improve the officiating?
Yeah.
But if the refs don't call it, you can't challenge it?
Right.
Explain that to me.
I just think about when Damian Lillard got goaltending by Rudy Gobert, which affected the outcome to the game. Like, stuff like that.
The Raptors had a call like that this week too, where it was a clear goaltend. The refs didn't call it, and because it was not, there was no whistle blown. There's nothing you can do. And like, okay, we have a replay center in Secaucus, right? Why is it not
the replay center?
What's that?
I like the replay center. I think they do a pretty good job.
I agree. I love the replay center. I'm saying it's being underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why isn't the replay center reviewing those iffy goaltending calls? Literally, all they have to do is award the point. Look at the tape, award the point. You've already got it in place. Why aren't you using it for everything it can be used for?
Yep. Exactly. And then, so for last question of the week, kind of a simple one, but so now we're at the back third of the season. Teams are pushing. Out of the players that are up for MVP, Jade, who do you have for MVP right now?
Who's even in like the top 5 in that list right now?
Right now, it's Giannis, LeBron, Luka is 4th. I can't remember who the 3rd one is. Yes. So just for what your own take with it, who has been MVP?
I have a hard time not saying Giannis. I am one of those people that I think MVP should go with a good record for your team.
Yes.
And I would make an argument 100% for Luka if the Mavs had a better record.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think overall he elevates his whole team a little bit more than Giannis does.
Yes.
I think most of Giannis's MVP clout is based on his points, and I get it. But I think winning is important as a factor in it. So even if the Mavs were like 2nd or 3rd, I would make an argument for Luka. But as things stand, I would have to go with Giannis.
Okay. Penny, who is your pick for MVP at this point in the season before the playoffs and everything? Who's your pick right now?
Well, if it's not based on team record, I have to go with Luka. But if it is based on team record, Giannis has the MVP for me. But I'm hoping Luka gets it because he really deserves it. Though what he's doing with the Mavericks is unbelievable.
He jumped them up maybe about 2 or 3 years ahead of schedule.
Yeah, definitely.
And he just became legal to drink.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
21.
a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I saw a picture online, and it was from 2K17. And on that game, you can get international teams. Well, Where is he from? Lithuania?
I think so.
Yeah. Whichever international team he was from, you can actually use him as a player from when he was 17, 18, and he's rated 59 overall. And now you look at with the latest update for 2K, and he's 97 overall.
Wow.
Within a 3-year gap, he swung up 40 some points, 47 levels.
Yeah, he's special. I don't understand. Like, I see a lot of people on Twitter saying, "Oh, he's non-existent in the fourth quarter." I mean, like, the dude got a triple a lot of the times in 3 quarters. Who cares if he's non-existent in the fourth quarter? Like, I don't understand that.
That's just dumb to me.
Yeah.
I think that team just needs one more piece.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or even two.
Two, but I mean, they just because you have Porzingis
Mm-hmm.
and then Luka, and then you drop.
If Porzingis can't get healthy,
what?
If Porzingis can't get healthy, it's going to be a problem.
Yes.
I think some of their younger up and coming players are a season or two away from not being as big a drop as they are. Like that German kid, he's from the same town. Keebler. He's from the same town Dirk Nowitzki's from, which is insane because it's a tiny little town.
Right.
But
when
he develops, he's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is. Is he a rookie this year?
I think so.
How did he not get to the rookie game then?
Seriously.
Man, we got to do a whole lot of just what we change in the All-Star contest again. We could do that whole over again. Got through the fast break. We got through our topic of the week. So I think maybe we should think about wrapping up for today. We got plenty more episodes coming at you, listeners, subscribers. So follow us, listen to us. We are now on iTunes now, as well as Spotify and any other kind of streaming site you use for us. You can look us there on all social media sites. Whenever you see Hardcourt Honeys, also follow Jade and Penny and I, because we'll post our own stuff too. Just as funny, just as hot of takes. And also follow up Belly Up. They've been helping us out, and it's been real great. You just go to their head page or main page, go to the podcast, and you can find Hardcourt Honeys right away. So you guys have a great week, Jade and Penny, and subscribers. We will see you guys next episode.